on the verge of being the Nutrilite Canadian champions, but they're still looking for their legs in the USL. Bring on Miami FC and a chance to right the ship. From returning veterans like Charles BK to young rookies like Ethan Gage, the Vancouver Whitecaps are willing and ready to prove they can repeat. The Whitecaps and Miami FC coming up next. Welcome to the second game of our doubleheader on the opening night of Save-On-Foods Vancouver Whitecaps soccer on Shaw. The women's got us started a little earlier with an unfortunate 0-0 draw against the LA Legend. The men, meanwhile, will be looking for a better result against the Miami FC Blues. Of course, it's well documented the Whitecaps' success in the Nutrilite Canadian Championships, on the verge of hoisting that trophy if they can get a little bit of help from the Montreal Impact as they host Toronto June 18th. Whitecaps have put so much pressure on Toronto, they need to win that game by at least 4 goals in order to steal that trophy from the Whitecaps. But unfortunately, their great play in that tournament has not translated to wins in league play. They've lost their last 3 straight in the USL. That's why the Whitecaps are calling this one a must win. For their thoughts on tonight's matchup, let's check in with our play-by-play team of Paul Dolan and Peter Schad.
Yeah, Kristen, odd form for the Whitecaps, not only losing 3 straight league games, but uncharacteristically allowing 2 goals in each of those games.
Yeah,
Paul.
They've been leaking goals in the back, and after having won 3 in a row, they've now lost 3 in a row. In between that, though, they had a terrific performance against Toronto in the Canadian Nutrilite Championship Series. So we'll see what team shows up today.
And a team that's a little bit thin at the back all of a sudden.
It looks as if Marco Retta will make his way into the lineup after recovering from injury. They have been a little unstable. Justin Thompson has left the club, another center back, but we'll see how Marco comes into tonight and settles the back 4.
And that back 4 has to watch out for 2 Miami players, in particular, number 10, Leo Nunez.
Yes, Brazilian coach, a Brazilian World Cup winner, Zinho, has gone back to his hometown of Rio de Janeiro to find Leo Nunez, a 32-year-old forward. A couple of goals on the season, has played at Flamengo and Fluminense, so lots of experience. They'll be counting on him to try to hit the score sheet tonight.
And the other man on the screen, you have to think he's going to make his way into the lineup with only 3 subs for Zinho tonight.
Well, and this team has gone 5 without a win, 4 without a goal. And Marcina, who recently played in Vancouver, also has played it to 5 other clubs in USL, would love to score against his former club here.
As for the Whitecaps, what can you say about Martin Nash? He really is the engine that drives the midfield.
Yeah, the 19th club captain in history, is the tempo driver in midfield, takes all the set pieces, really controls the play, very good with both feet, and scores the occasional goal as well.
One player who'd love to have a great outing against Miami, actually played for Miami FC briefly, is Anzu Toure, who'd love to show some Nutrilite form tonight.
Well, he's been hot and cold as well, but in the Nutrilite game against Toronto, he was super hot. Very opportunistic goal here against Greg Sutton after the deflection, and then an unstoppable shot in the second half to really seal it and pretty much seal the passage for the Whitecaps into the next round. We'll see if he can duplicate that performance here for the Whitecaps in USL.
The Whitecaps are 6-1-2 against Miami, but they've only won once against Miami FC here. And standing by with Anzu Toure once again, here is Kristen Reed.
Lindsay, I want to jump right in with it. 2 goals against Toronto, a big game for yourself. How are you feeling about your game personally right now?
I feel great, I'm feel great because Toronto is a very good team to score 2 goals against, although we still waiting until the 18th, but we're looking forward to tonight games and focus on tonight because we definitely want to win tonight.
And of course, a little personal moment for you going up against your former team. What do you expect from Miami tonight?
Miami is a great team, and Vancouver is a very good team. We were the champion last year, so we're definitely going to play to our best tonight and try to win tonight. We want to make our fans happy tonight, so I definitely know that will be a good game tonight.
Well, good luck. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
The Vancouver Whitecaps taking on the Miami FC Blues. Day was kickoff is next on Save-On-Foods Vancouver Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw.
Save-On-Foods Vancouver Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw returns for 2009 with the men's edition as the Whitecaps take on Miami FC Blues. Depleted here tonight with only 3 subs. Let's go through Zinho's lineup and his starting 11. And starting in goal, we'll get to the goalkeepers in just a second, but an interesting story in goal as the Miami FC Blues have an interesting lineup. Siskaridze is an interesting story in the center of the defense.
Yeah, a player from Georgia. The goalkeeper Shaney making his first start. A very small team at 5'6", 3 players in the smaller category, up against the Whitecaps, who also go with a 4-4-2.
As for the Whitecaps, they've had some troubles at the back with keeping people healthy, and then Justin Thompson left the squad recently, so Marco Retta steps back into the lineup at center back.
And he'll be tested since that game that he got injured against Toronto in Toronto when he knocked heads with one of the Toronto FC players. As you look at the starting goalkeeper for Miami making his first start, Kenny Shaney, as the regular goalie Pat Hannigan not playing tonight.
He was with the Columbus Crew organization but didn't get to taste their championship glory last year. Jay Nolly going the entire distance for the Whitecaps.
He has a 1.22 goals against average, and he has played every minute of every game. So the veteran against the newcomer making his debut in USL 1.
And the man in the middle is John Oliva, our referee. Bedik Shafain is on the one side. Kevin Delidaba is the assistant referee on the far side as we get set to kick off. The Whitecaps all in Umbro white will start play. Miami in all blue will defend the north goal to our left. And the Whitecaps attacking right away, but Siskaridze, very interesting story, defected from Russia or Georgia to Poland. His dad was an opera singer and went to the States, and finally he's wound up here on an open tryout, impressed Zinho, and now he's stuck with the team, and he's easy to pick out too with the shorn head. As the Whitecaps have possession through Wes Knight, who pumps it forward, but there's Siskaridze there to knock it back into midfield. Ethan Gage touching down for Knight in the red boots. From the Carolinas, two teams from Carolina share the top of the USL 1 standings as we speak, as Taka Hirano gets his first touch. Knocks it off the legs, down the line. Marcus Haber on the trot. And up goes Anzu Toure, two number 16s battling for the ball there. And Miami comes up with it through Jared Goldberg. And then Nunez. Siskaridze plays it wide for Walter Ramirez, one of two Hondurans on Miami FC. He's been with Miami from the outset. As the Blues, who've done well here at Swangard Stadium, disrupt the midfield only until Martin Nash plays the ball down the line and just knocked away by Siskaridze in touch. And that'll be the Whitecaps' first throw-in from the right side.
And you mentioned, Peter, that the success that Miami FC has had here, conversely, the Whitecaps have owned Miami down in Miami, somewhat unusually, and Vancouver's come out pretty strong tonight.
Wes Knight with one of those patented long throws all the way through. And Siskaridze steps aside Martin, but that'll be another throw-in opportunity for Knight, and this is a better angle for the Whitecap number 8. And the big boys step into the penalty area. Wes Charles stays behind, but Marco Retta does venture forward. He scored on one of these in Austin as Knight hurls it to the edge of the 6. Haber went up a little soon. It's nodded away. And Ethan Gage keeps Whitecaps in possession. Gage, who scored his first goal against Montreal in the Neutralite Championships, left-footed ball, headed away by Perdomo, and then Ramirez will have the ball for Miami FC. Nice little step over. Up the touchline he goes. Marcus Haber with some good pace to stay close, and then Lyle Martin comes over for cover as well. Jared Goldberg, Siskaridze, Perdomo, and Zach Kirby. Will switch play once again. Siskaridze has a little bit of room to move upfield, left-footed through ball. Finds Ramirez, appeals for the ball to have gone over the line, but play continues. And now Wes Charles with his first touch. Wes Knight's been an impressive addition for the Whitecaps this year. Young player out of college, but plenty of speed to burn, and of course that patented long throw-in is Taka Hirano to the head of Charles Biquet, and nobody behind him. Miami with possession. Peter Shad and Paul Dolan welcoming you to Save On Foods, Vancouver Whitecaps soccer on Shaw from Swangard Stadium. Beautiful night too. 20 degrees and 4 minutes played. Whitecaps 0, Miami FC 0. Walter Ramirez at midfield. Pokes it through. Here's Nunez. And he knocks it off Charlton out for a Miami throw.
Ramirez is very comfortable on the ball on that far side flank. And most of the players with either a South or Central American flair to them, you know that they're going to want to possess the ball. They're not uncomfortable in this warm weather here.
Paulo Araujo wins a throw-in for Zinho's Miami FC, and it was Zinho who made sure that that was the right pronunciation. He said it's a Brazilian name. It's Araujo. Junior, actually, as the Whitecaps get a throw-in on the far side.
You got a couple of testers over on that sideline there, Peter.
Azinho's a very engaging fellow. He seemed in good spirits despite the fact that Miami's coming off a very narrow U.S. Open Cup win over Lynch FC. They fell behind in the game on a penalty and then lost 2-1. And apparently after they won the game 2-1, but they were acting as if they had lost after the game was over. Toure got away with one there. And then a sliding tackle from Perdomo. Hirano sidesteps Vasquez, and then it's Martin Nash to win a throw.
Well, you mentioned the U.S. Open Cup victory, and oftentimes you make jokes about teams that are like pub sides. Well, they literally were a pub team, or sponsored by a pub anyway. The Lynchburg team, and Miami squeaked through in that, so they're on to the next round.
FC have changed home fields too. They were at Tropical Park. They played Lynch at Tropical Park Stadium, but they're now at Lockhart Stadium, which is in Fort Lauderdale, home of the old NASL Fort Lauderdale Strikers and Miami Fusion. And they were hoping the change of scenery might attract a few more fans to their games as BK nods the ball through. Good first chest by Lyle Martin, shrugs off his man. That's a good save by Shaney. Lyle Martin kept his shot down and on target. The Whitecaps have their first corner in minute number 6.
Well, we've criticized Lyle Martin before for all the pace he has and lack of finish. He didn't score on this occasion, but he sure set himself up well here, and he hit the target, forcing the keeper to make a good save. Good bright start for Lyle Martin.
And Martin Nash with the first corner coming from the near side quadrant. And he'll send this one in right-footed. Nash whips it in. Charles just missed it. Here's Lyle Martin again on the back post. Sidesteps one. Left-footed ball right to BK. And he just couldn't corral it at the edge of the 6. Shaney comes up with it and will send his teammates forward with a thumping punt. And Wes Knight on the end of that.
And good composure there for Martin as well. He might have struck it at the first time, but pulled it back, put it onto his left foot, and really BK should have done better, although he lost his footing.
Toure. And then Haber, ooh, and studs up there. That's definitely a free kick as Nicholas Torres went in studs high. No yellow card, but a free kick for the Whitecaps. First foul for Miami FC. BK back to goal. Has a go and on target. 2 on target for the Whitecaps. I know that's something Tater Torderson wants to see more of.
No, I know the Whitecaps will be happy, but so will Kenny Shaney in the Miami net. He's made a couple of good saves early on. That was very comfortable for him. But palming over Lyle Martin's drive and then making that save will make him feel a lot more comfortable in his first start in USL.
Jay Nolly's been a spectator here in the first half. Minute number 7. Gave Wes Knight a bit of work to do on the far side. And now the St. Vincent and the Grenadines international Wes Charles, who looked like he was badly injured in the Whitecaps' last outing, a 2-1 loss to Montreal, but fans happy to see Big Wes back in the lineup as Goldberg with the outside of his right foot. Vasquez, Ramirez, who's a tough customer over on that far side. Nice through ball there. Araujo. And a nice move by Araujo. Now for Nunez, top of the penalty area. Intricate work by Miami at the top of the box. And you'll see a lot of that. The ball staying on the deck. And now a good through ball, and away goes Lyle Martin. BK sidesteps one. Couldn't find the through ball back to Martin, and the Whitecaps will have to reorganize a little bit here through Wes Knight.
Some nice skill from Araujo there. Just 5'6". I mentioned a couple other players also limited in stature, but very quick feet, just 20 years old. Another player from Brazil.
Vasquez. And then Torres to Araujo. Dispossessed, and away goes Toure. Sidesteps one, sidesteps two, and he got it right back again. And Tater Torson wasn't happy with that. He thought the Whitecaps should have kept possession. There's a poor ball in the center of midfield. A little short from Gage to Lyle Martin, who's tucked right in. And then Shaney will get the ball back in the Miami goal. Minute number 8, Whitecaps 0, Miami FC 0. Whitecaps with 2 shots on target and a corner in those 8 minutes. Ramirez tucks inside. On the deck it goes, but there's Marco Retta to stab it away. Nice little touch there by Goldberg. And again, intricate footwork on the build-up for Miami. Araujo goes for a tumble, and this will be a free kick. It'll come from about 30 yards out at an angle to the right. Taka Hirano, the man foul.
Araujo already frustrating some of the Whitecap players. He's gone to deck rather easily a couple of different times. One, the referee allowed play to go on, but this was certainly a foul.
It's Nicholas Torres standing off the ball. Now Ramirez comes over. And Walter Ramirez making absolutely sure that the ball is perfectly placed. Siskarize standing off that ball as well, the big number 6. And he may have a go here. Two-man Whitecap wall, minute number 10. First real threat from Miami FC. Ramirez steps over. Siskarize with a hit, and it forces Nolly into the save. Good left-footed drive by the Georgian.
That was a useful strike from all of 35 yards. Rather unusual set piece, the way they lined up with Ramirez directly in front of Siskarize. But easy enough for Nolly, who was standing in the right position, to steer it over.
That's their first shot on target. And a nice little play for Ramirez and Siskarize. And now Ramirez will come over and take the corner from the near side. So he's all the way over on the opposite flank as the Whitecaps try to organize inside their 18-yard box. Ramirez left-footed. Driven ball. Siskarize! And it's 1-0 for the visitors. Minute number 10. And this boy has been impressive in the first 10 minutes. As Siskarize puts Miami on the board. It's their first goal in over 400 minutes of soccer. Whitecaps 0, Miami FC 1.
Well, if you draw up a textbook corner kick, it would be drawn like this. Ramirez whipped in left-footed in-swinger, and Siskarize nods it to the far post. The man on the far post, West Knight, had come off the post, and that left the gap in the goal right where he should have been. But it was a fine finish by Siskarize, who was unmarked in the end. Looked as if West Charles either slipped or went down. And that is how you draw it up the day before the game on the chalkboard. And Miami up 1-0 now.
And once again, and for the 4th straight game, the Whitecaps find themselves behind in USL 1 action. And that's a concern for Tater Torderson. I mean, this is a team that has not scored in, as we mentioned, 400 minutes of USL 1 action. Now the Whitecaps are having to play from behind. Little flick on, and BK's offside. Marcus Haber is so good at getting to that ball first.
You mentioned Ramirez with a good start in the first 10-11 minutes here, but Siskarize has been impressive as well. The long free kick, very comfortable in the back, and of course that terrific glancing header to give his side the lead.
He said when he went over to Poland, when his family moved to Poland, they weren't accepted very well there as Georgians. He said there's a lot of bigotry towards Russians in Poland, and so they had to leave there and wound up coming to the States, and he's happy he did. Still a young guy, too. Interesting to see how his career develops at 22 years of age. Played in the French 3rd Division as well, as the ball is thumped forward, headed away nicely by Perdomo. Then Ramirez, with Lyle Martin watching him. Now Charles Biquet in tow, and here's the goal scorer in minute number 10, Zurad Siskarize. And a long through ball. And that was looking for Araujo, and it's out for a Miami throw-in.
Just wonder how Wesley Charles is feeling. It looked as if it was his man on the corner kick. He seemed to slip or go down. Not sure if that was a result of the injury or just poor positioning.
Charles wins the ball on this occasion, and now Martin Nash. Nash for Takahirano, who would love to get up the left flank as often as possible. And a little ball inside for Haber. 2 goals on the season for Marcus Haber, and that through ball was cut out. Torres, Goldberg, and then Nunez with a nice turn, but good persistence by Gage, and the Whitecaps will get the ball back through Charles. West Charles gave that one away, and out come Miami FC. Boyd by a 1-0 lead on the road. They've done well here. The flag goes up, and Vasquez is offside. As we drop down to the pitch, here's Kristen Reed.
Thanks, Peter. Of course, the Whitecaps find themselves behind again. And we talked about it a little bit in the open. The Cats followed up each of their big Neutralite games with an unfortunate loss in USL play. Talked to the captain, Martin Nash, about it. He admitted they were guilty of being a little too focused on those Canadian Championship games, and that really led to their 3-4-2 record in league play right now. But they say there's no panic for the team so far. Charles Biquet actually pointed out a season that Montreal had last year where they were floundering near the bottom of the standings. I think about 11th, about midway through the season when they really turned it on. But I'm not sure that that's a model the Whitecaps want to follow, Peter.
And they have Marlon James on the bench for the first time, and he's a really key figure for the Whitecaps as they have gone through some spurts of injury, as Nash looks for Lyle Martin down the right flank. 1v1 with Ramirez. Martin rolls backwards for Gage. Gage Takes Goldberg wide. Nice ball. Here's Lyle Martin. Can he get the service now? Sends it through, and it's knocked away. And Siskarizi, there's the defender in Siskarizi now clearing the ball. Nice little flick backwards. Hirano can't get onto it. And Araujo will get onto it here. And the number 9 for Miami from Brazil gave it away to Nash, who plays it early and long, but there's nobody in the right channel there. And so out comes the goalkeeper, Shaney.
And Araujo maybe just a little guilty of wanting to do too much on the ball. He's obviously a very creative player and can get away with it on occasion, but in that particular instance probably should have given the ball away to one of his own players.
Perdomo asking for trouble in the center of that Miami back line. As the ball is thumped forward by Zach Kirby, and the flag goes up on Vasquez once again. We're in the first 15 minutes. Whitecaps 0, Miami FC 1 on the 10th minute goal by Siskarizi off Walter Ramirez corner, and the Whitecaps playing from behind again. Marco Reda to take this free kick. Wes Charles yelling instructions in a slight mixture of Caribbean and Irish accent, which is really interesting to listen to as Goldberg comes up with the ball for Miami, and then it's spread wide to the near side. Torres. Vasquez. Good run there by Merritt. Tim Merritt from Gig Harbor has a fan club here, as he's pretty close to his Gig Harbor, Washington home. Nice through ball, and away goes Wes Knight. 18 yards up, sends it through, and a little bit behind Charles Biquet, who throws his hands up in the air in disgust. And at minute 16, it'll be another Whitecap long throw.
Some good play by the Whitecaps, though. The service from Knight, not quite where it needed to be.
Up goes Haber. Biquet! Charles Biquet from the long throw-in. Edge of the 18, moved into the 6. And in minute number 16, it's the Whitecaps 1 and Miami 1.
Well, most soccer players wouldn't want to say that their best asset was their throw-in, but Wes Knight is deadly from that position, and so is Biquet. He rises above the defense again and knocks it down. Textbook heading out of the goalkeeper's reach and into the corner, and we've got a lively start here inside 15 minutes.
Great header by Biquet, who nodded it down and near post. I'm not sure if Shaney will be happy with himself. What do you think on that one?
A little slow to get down, but it was directed where it needed to be, and when it's bouncing off the turf, it's always difficult.
Merritt off the body of Taka Hirano. If you're going to ask somebody about goalkeeping impressions, you got to ask the guy to my right, Hall of Famer, Canadian national team player, and of course, longtime Vancouver 86er Paul Dolan to my right. It's Peter Shad with you on Save On Foods, Vancouver Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw, the first edition of the men's action this season. And we're in minute 17, and we have 2 goals already as Jay Nolly rolls it along the deck in front of the faithful Southsiders, who really have kicked it up a notch this season, haven't they? Knowing that MLS is on the horizon in 2011, and they were absolutely fantastic in the Neutralite 2-0 win over Toronto.
I saw a good feature on them on the website as well, and it's a growing club, and it certainly will grow within the next couple of years as well, I'm sure.
And you have to be happy for the guys that have been in that group for 10 plus years and have stuck through it. But they're making good noise now after Charles Biquet scored in minute number 16 off a Wes Knight throw. The second time they've managed to convert on one of those long throw-ins. As away goes Taka Hirano, charged down by 2 blue shirts. It's Merritt who comes up with it, plays it along the midfield stripe. And you can hear Tater Torderson yelling instructions there as the Whitecaps win a throw.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with Hirano taking one too many touches right in front of him there. Play the safe ball, do the simple thing. You don't want to give the ball away in those areas.
Ethan Gage switches play for Knight. He gets a helper on that throw. Wes Charles switches plays for Taka Hirano on his left foot. Through ball looking for Biquet once again. Almost got through to Biquet. Nash pokes it ahead. Here's Haber. Good first touch. Marcus Haber, and it's charged down for another Whitecap corner. The second, and Biquet Haber just tried to get that ball down a little faster.
And he did his best there. I think it just wouldn't settle for him, but he did get the shot away. It was an excellent sliding defensive tackle from the Miami defender here. And as you have another look, and it just didn't settle for Haber to get the shot away that quickly.
And Biquet wanted that ball played square, just by the looks of the communication between the two. That's a good driven ball. Out comes Shaney's in no man's land. And Lyle Martin's over on the other side now, touches back for Toure. Anzu Toure left-footed ball in the box. Wesley Charles got under that one, and it's in the VIP section. I don't know if it would have been a good play to try to square that ball up for Charles Biquet on that previous attack as Haber tried to hit it. It results in a goal kick. As we have another look at the cross in, and West Charles just got under that one a little bit.
Yeah, Kenny Shaney is not looking forward to challenging Big West Charles and Charles Biquet and Marcus Haber, the giants of the Whitecaps, who come forward on those set piece opportunities.
Siskaridze, the man who opened up the scoring in minute number 10. Jared Goldberg, the number 14 from Livingston, New Jersey. And Wesley Charles back to his goalkeeper, Jay Nolly. Minute number 20. And ones on the board. Up goes Lyle Martin. Siskaridze again. Early man of the match nominee as Wes Knight gets set to throw in. Looked square for Nash, then looks down the line for Marcus Haber. Dunbar Products, who went on to be a Vancouver Select, play in Holland last year. Great little back heel. Lyle Martin with the cross. Toure just couldn't reach it. And now the charge is on from Hirano, and he just couldn't get there ahead of Merritt. It's a Whitecap throw-in.
There's been a good urgency about this game from both sides. And I wouldn't want to be a betting man, but you'd think there'd be more goals in store for us.
Toure backing into his man, goes for a tumble. And Goldberg sends a right-footed ball. A little too far for Vasquez. It's a Whitecap throw at midfield. And you can really hear Zinho now yelling instructions in Portuguese by the sounds of it, or Spanish. Marco Retta switches play for Knight. And Knight sends a right-footed ball. Will that stay in for Haber? It does stay up as Haber gets to it, knocks it off Siskaridze. Did it stay in? Flag stays down on the far side, and now it's a goal kick. 21st minute, Whitecaps 1, Miami FC 1. A lot of familiar faces missing from this Miami FC squad. Edwin Miranda being one of them. Cristiano Diaz also not here, as here comes Lyle Martin on the break. Here comes Biquet. Oh, and a good play by Shaney, who just got there. I think Biquet actually got to the ball first, but the goalkeeper did well. And Araujo sends it through for Vasquez. 3 times offside in the first half as we look back at that Charles Biquet chance a moment ago. Decent
run
ball
from Biquet, yes. And not the fleetest of foot, Charles Biquet, but when he makes the right runs in the right areas, the Whitecap midfielders can often find him in good scoring positions.
If he had gone sliding in for that one, somebody would have wound up hurt for sure. As here comes Gage, nice ball, finds room for Knight. Knight's going to take it deep, and his first touch let him down. He had the speed, but he just couldn't get around it.
Very heavy on the touch, and sometimes you need to on the long grass here at Swangard, but it seems to be a little shorter than normal here. The ball's pinging around rather nicely tonight.
No, he's been one of the bright spots, though, has Wes Knight, who speaks with a very heavy southern accent and is enjoying his time here in Vancouver as Kenny Shaney gets set to take this goal kick, sends it high into Whitecap territory. Up goes Charles. Thumping header back to Haber, who beat everybody in the air once again. Toure tried to play it first time and just couldn't feather it through for Lyle Martin, who was on the trot, and now Walter Ramirez takes over for Miami FC. Down the line it goes. Araujo couldn't keep it in. It'll be a Whitecap throw-in as we reach the midway mark of the first half. 1-1 from Swangard Stadium on Save on Foods. Vancouver Whitecap Soccer here on Shaw. Peter Shad and Paul Dolan enjoying your company, and hopefully you're enjoying this match so far. As Merritt sends a right-footed ball through. Nicely knotted down by Retta. Nash up in the air for Biquet. Beautiful ball through for Lyle Martin. Now he's going to need some service here against Siskaridze. Good ball in, and straight to the goalkeeper. Siskaridze got a foot out, and that's what just kept that ball away from the oncoming Whitecap attackers. Retta with a good piece of defending there. Now look out as Vasquez in a foot race with Taka Hirano. Vasquez gets there around Hirano and then hammers it into the south side with the outside of his right foot.
He's a tricky player, as a number of the Miami FC players are, but without any real support, he was never going to get around Hirano from there or beat Nolly from that angle or that distance.
Great balance there by Vasquez to keep his feet, and you just see he hit the outside of his foot and it swerved away from Jay Nolly's goals. Knight crosses into Miami territory. Lyle Martin, who's also had a good start to this game.
He has had a good start. Good to see him pushing forward and getting more bodies into attacking positions. He's had some good service from the right flank as well.
Nice header by BK to try to find Haber. But again, Siscarizze is there for the ball, and he's on it now on his left foot. The number 6, the goal scorer, Ramirez. Cuts inside Lyle Martin and sends a firm ball along the deck to the near side for Kirby. Zach Kirby comes inside, stolen away there by Gage. Herano. Through ball for Toure. He's got a little bit of room ahead of him. Charles Biquet heads off to the far post, puts his hand in the air. Toure floats it to the back post. Siscarizze is there first. And now Marcus Haber on the chase against Ramirez. And good job by Walter Ramirez. And then he steps aside, Haber, and that's why he's on this team. That time he gave the ball away poorly to Nash. Through ball for BK. Touchdown for Haber. Just couldn't get around his man Kirby. Then Toure at the top of the box, dancing it around 2 players. Anzu Toure. Here comes Taka Hirano on the overlap. Haber couldn't get it out of his feet. Nice ball through, and here's a break for Vasquez, but Jay Nolly's going to get to this first. As the little number 30 for Miami is lurking. He's been caught offside a number of times in this first half, but you have to keep your eye on him, Paul.
You certainly do. It's been a very entertaining first 25 minutes. Both teams looking to attack. The Whitecaps in particular have done really well in their build-up. Shaney not so comfortable on that one in his first start here.
Martin Nash will come over and try to take a long throw from the near side at minute number 26. And there's a bit of a missed kick there by Merritt, and the Whitecaps get a set piece opportunity about 10 yards up from the near side corner flag. And Nash can do a pretty good job with these as well. Whitecaps goal coming off a West Knight long throw. Charles Biquet with a near post header, and now Nash rips it nicely. Haber tried to flick it, and Biquet tried the overhead. Here comes Ethan Gage, straight up in the air from Nunez. We haven't said his name a whole lot in this first half, given his pedigree as Knight. Does well to win possession, but then lost it right back again. And Araujo comes forward to Nunez, back to goal. Charles all over him, gets a good touch in, and actually commits a foul in the process. Big West Charles not happy with that.
And it's 6'4" Wesley Charles against 5'6" Danny Vasquez, and you know who's going to win that battle. Although on that occasion, Vasquez won himself and his teammates a free kick, and if they're as good on this set piece as they were from their last one, the corner kick, which opened the scoring, it'll be the man who scored it to take it, though.
Vasquez went down very easily there. As Siscarizze sends it in, headed away by Haber, who's all the way back. Of course, he was a defender in part of his career. And then a through ball is offside, and again, the south side gets a souvenir. Minute number 27. And the Whitecaps and Miami FC embroiled in a 1-1 draw.
That's 4 or 5 times now that Miami has been found in an offside position. That's frustrating for a coach. You build yourself into a position where you've got territorial advantage and then really give up what's a lazy play in the end by not keeping yourself onside. It seems as if the Miami players are quick enough. They're just drifting into offside positions.
Zach Kirby was eventually the man who was called for the foul as Charles Biquet was ganged up on there. So the Whitecaps will have a free kick. Martin Nash will orchestrate this one. Here comes Taka Hirano on the run, and he was tracked in the end. So Martin Nash will probably float this one into the penalty area. See if he could tease the goalkeeper off his line. Little chip down the line looking for BK, and did Kirby get a touch? No, he didn't. That'll be a goal kick.
You see the value there of having a 2-footed player as Nash kind of elected which way he wanted to go. Was he going to whip it as an outswinger with a left foot or chip it in with a right foot, which he eventually did. Nothing came of it, but it's a very valuable asset for a player to have. Really leaves the defense guessing on set pieces.
Mentioned off the top that Kenny Shaney was in the Columbus Crew organization last year, but never got to play for the championship MLS side. The Columbus Crew, one of the teams the Whitecaps could face if they do indeed advance to the CONCACAF Champions League. They'd have to get past the Puerto Rico Islanders first, and they'd be in a very difficult group as West Knight comes up with the ball, rolls it wide for Lyle Martin, and back for Knight. Right-footed through ball looking for Haber. Siscarizze is the first man there. Haber gets over, and it's a Whitecap throw, and West Knight will get a chance to perhaps orchestrate another goal here.
And why not? It worked to a T on the first occasion, or the second one, I guess. This is the third long throw now tonight. And again, they'll send up Retta as well, so all the big players are trying to fluster the goalie, Shaney.
Knight. Good looking throw. Out comes the goalkeeper, flapped at it, and he's actually going to win a foul at the edge of a 6-yard box.
And they're always going to give that one if you're anywhere near. Retta complaining to the referee. No real contact there.
Ramirez. Right-footed ball off the legs of Lyle Martin and out in minute number 30 as we've played half an hour at Swangard Stadium. Whitecaps 1, Miami FC 1. BK and Siskarize. It was actually the Miami FC squad that opened the scoring in minute number 10. Whitecaps trying to end a 3-game losing streak in USL 1. And they win a free kick there as Charles will switch play for Hirano, who's got to backpedal and take it off his chest, but does very well. And then Anzu Toure. It's been relatively quiet here in the first half. Retta coming off the injury. And Knight. Up the line it goes for Martin. And the square ball got cut out there by Goldberg, but Ethan Gage very quick to pounce. No one challenging Ramirez until BK comes over. Good feet by Walter Ramirez. And Siskarize comes inside for Jared Goldberg. Chased down by BK. Goldberg on the deck for Kirby. And he switches play once again as Miami's happy to keep possession here a little bit in the later stages of the first half. In a 1-1 game at Swangard Stadium. Through ball. And onside is Araujo. Make that Ramirez, who stepped all the way up. Sidesteps one, then two, and then commits a foul.
A crazy foul as well, but look at the footwork on this guy. He is some player, the Honduran. He's the fellow who set up the opening goal.
Interesting decision there. Both players kind of went into each other at the same time, but the Whitecaps wind up with a free kick. And Ramirez complaining.
You didn't say what happened, but he left his feet in an awkward way, and certainly trying to draw the foul.
He kind of worked himself into a bit of a corner there, and the Whitecaps will get possession from this in minute number 32. As Nolly thumps it into Miami territory. Up goes BK. Got a piece of it, but Goldberg on the follow-up, and then another nice through ball, and again it's Ramirez on the trot. And the flag goes up on the far side.
That cannot happen. And it's as if it's a way of life in this game for them. You know, I'm referring to the Miami forwards here because they're not so concerned. You know, they feel that they'll get their chances again, but it's a wasted chance.
Ethan Gage will play it backwards to Marco Retta as we quickly drop down to the park and see how the coach is feeling about the first half hour. Kristen?
Well, Coach, you wanted to see some offense from your team, but unfortunately it had to be a response to giving up the first goal. What do you see from your team in the first half?
Yeah, well, that was right. I wanted to see us more offensive than we have been. As you said, it was a little bit unfortunate that we got a goal behind, so we had to chase that. But now we are equal again. So, and we are. I have a feeling that we are about to take over the game a little bit more, but they are dangerous all the time. So we cannot afford to make too many mistakes, especially not in the midfield.
Thank you for the insight. Good luck.
Thanks.
Peter?
Tater Torderson pacing around in his technical area, and the Whitecaps winning a free kick 10 yards inside their own half of the midfield. Minute number 33. 1-1 the score, and Wes Charles. Square for Marco Retta. Spent some time with Toronto FC and the Charleston Battery in USL 1. And a right-footed ball for Knights. Jeff Park, another MLS veteran, not playing. He's down with an injury. Through ball cut out by Ramirez. The follow-up from Knights just couldn't get there, and now the Whitecaps will win a throw-in on the far side as Zinho gives off a gasp in his technical area to our left. I think he understands too the dangers of these long throws coming from the right side and West Knight. Haber backing into his man Siskarize. That's going to be a corner unless Haber keeps it in, which he does. Haber keeps his feet. Can't get outside the number 6, who does a great job down in that left corner. And off the legs of Haber, Lyle Martin tucking in. Big battle down in that corner right now. Again, nice little back heel from Lyle Martin. Now can they get the service in? Knight on his right foot whips it to the back post. Here comes PK. The goalkeeper dropped it. It's a goal. PK's second. Minute number 34. Kenny Shaney is furious. Miami is surrounding the referee, but it's the Whitecaps 2 and Miami FC 1.
And have a look at the Miami players there. Just as I've said, they always give it to the goalkeeper on a challenge like that. The referees allowed it, and perhaps this is why the referees tend not to, or they do call those, because he is absolutely being surrounded by every player on the team, and Zinio's up in arms. And well, I've seen it 3 times. I'm a goalkeeper, Peter. I might have given that as a free kick. I mean, he's got it in his hands, and the collision with BK has caused the ball to go into the net. I can see why the Miami players are frustrated.
I'll tell you what else too, it looked like it went off of Charles BK's arm, as the yellow card will come out to somebody here, and there it is. And it's Nunez who gets the booking in minute number 35 as the Whitecaps take a 2-1 lead, and they are very fortunate. You need some breaks to come out of these kind of slumps, but I think Charles BK was a little bit lucky there, as not only did he collide with the goalkeeper, it looked like it went off his arm and in.
Well, he's done everything right, Charles BK, so you can't complain about that. Then it's up to the referee to make the decision, and on this occasion, the Whitecaps, as you say, perhaps caught a break. It was, I thought, in the grasp of the goalkeeper, and the force of the impact of contact caused the ball to come free, and generally those are given.
Now, Charles BK has really been a pivotal player for the Whitecaps. When you think about what he achieved for the team in the championship last year with both goals, and how well he played in the game against Toronto recently, he's done very well in his return to Vancouver. As Marco Reda will just see that ball off and out, and you have to commend a player for being brave too and just going in there.
Well, the frustration level has risen now, and the team wearing blue, and we'll see how that translates into the rest of the game, whether they bounce back through their own good play or whether you tend to see some of the late tackles in the argument of the referee the rest of the match.
The decibel level has also gone up to our right, in behind the Whitecap goal, as the Southsiders sing along after Charles BK's second. And the Whitecaps win a throw-in now. And Zatori will leave this for Martin Nash with about 9 minutes or so until halftime. Knocked away by Kirby. And then Merritt. And Jared Goldberg for Walter Ramirez. And I don't think Miami's the type of team that really enjoys playing from behind and committing players forward, because they like to keep the ball on the deck as much as possible. Good footwork there, though, by Araujo. And then Goldberg. And Kirby. Perdomo, right-footed ball thumped through midfield and all the way through. Flag stays down on Araujo, who goes down again very easily, and then Knight goes down, and Vasquez with the foul there at minute 37.
Well, this is the other thing we're bound to see now, is Miami trying to get the even up call, and looking within themselves to make that happen by trying to draw the foul. And Zinio again shaking his head on the Miami bench, but certainly no foul there against Miami.
Hirano couldn't keep it in. Tater Torderson saying just move the ball. No need to float it all the way across the field in that situation. As Reda lost it to Merritt, and Martin Nash picks up the pieces, but Araujo has been all over the place. He's been impressive, actually, the Miami number 9. Here's Nunez, who was just booked, and down goes Gage. That's a yellow card. I'm shocked that Ethan Gage went in 2 feet like that, but at minute 38, that's an easy booking.
You mentioned that Nunez hasn't done a lot. This was the first time really he got on the ball, and then Gage welcomed him to the match 37 minutes in.
And another free kick. And Siscarize will stand off this ball. He had a thumper that led to the first corner, that led to a goal. As he whips it in, out comes Jay Nolly. And he'll claim that. And then throw it beautifully early for Toure. Can Toure get around his man? Goldberg does! And he's going to get a free kick. I wonder if the card will stay in the pocket. It will. As Toure just needed perhaps an extra gear there to win the ball all the way through and maybe get a yellow card against his opponent.
And speed kills, and it causes players to have to foul in that scenario.
It's one of the things I think the Whitecaps have improved on the most this season for last. They brought in some speed for sure with Wes Knight and Lyle Martin, of course, was always quick. Whitecaps still have Jordy Lyle waiting in the wings. He's no slouch. They have Dever Orgill. They have Randy Edwini Bonzu in the ranks.
Well, even Marcus Haber up front, the big guy, he's relatively quick for a man of that stature.
Taka Hirano's no slouch either as he takes off, gets past one, carries on. Hirano, can he get the cross in? Good cut to the end line, whips it in! And headed straight up in the air and out for another corner, but a good run down the left by the Japanese international.
And a nice ball in. Oftentimes when you're running at pace to the end line, you're not able to wrap your foot around it, but he drilled across the face of goal and caused the corner kick. Good play from Taka Hirano.
Martin Nash from the near quadrant. Another goal here would really set Miami back on their heels heading into halftime. As Nash goes right-footed and whips it way to the back post. Headed to the middle. Good save by the goalkeeper Shaney on that occasion. Couldn't hang on. It'll be a corner now from the far side, and I think Toure will go over and take this one.
And look at the power that BK gets on his headed balls. That was incredible from distance. He had the keeper scrambling to make the save. But BK is definitely in the zone after starting the year looking for goals. Now they're coming in hatfuls.
Hansu Toure left-footed this time. Whips it in beautifully over the head of the goalkeeper. And at the back post, it's Lyle Martin. Steps aside his man. Top of the penalty area. Nash left-footed. And he stepped into it but got under it. As Lyle Martin has done a good job on a couple of occasions this year, getting to that back post and just holding the play up. And one of these days, you know he's going to bag one. And he would love to do that, the Californian.
Well, and Nash will have hoped to have done better than that. But the goalkeeper Shaney is really at 6s and 7s right now. I think he's rattled not only from that goal that was allowed when he was contacted by BK, but before that as well. There was a couple of dangerous chances where he seemed a bit at sea. So the Whitecaps would be best inclined to keep knocking the ball into the area.
Toure surrounded by two blue shirts. And then Nash. And Toure, I'm not sure what he was trying there. But it'll be Shaney on the other end of this. Less than 5 minutes until the halftime interval, and Kenny Shaney with a right-footed blast into Whitecap territory. Up goes Retta once again. And that's one of the challenges about having a very small forward up front in Vasquez. Nobody's winning balls in Whitecap territory except for Charles and Retta right now, as Haber has been fouled by Siskaridze, and so the Whitecaps will have a dangerous free kick in a good Martin Nash territory.
And Ramirez on the far side there, better calm it down. He's had a couple of goes at the referee, once after he thought he was fouled in the corner here, and again on this occasion. So you see the temper now starting to flare in some of the Miami players.
Nash. Looks at a right-footed free kick coming up here. Minute number 42. Whitecaps leading by 2-1. Both goals by BK, and now the referee wants to have a little chat there with Kirby and Marcus Haber. Marcus Haber scored a goal just before halftime against Montreal last week as Knight sneaking up the right touchline. Nash retreating. Right-footed blast into the box, and was he going on target? Wasn't on target in the end. Goal kick to our left, but an interesting effort from Martin Nash.
I think he saw something there, and that's always worth a crack if you think you can score from distance. Try to catch the keeper sneaking over to the other side. Even if you get it on target and the keeper saves it, oftentimes you'll get the rebound and maybe score from that.
Lower Mainland product and former Whitecap Alan Mercina up off Zinho's bench right now and doing a light warm-up. Right-footed ball sent in by Shaney. Araujo tries a long shot from distance and bouncer into the chest of Jay Nolly. And now Wes Knight. Right-footed ball for BK. Good header away by Siskaridze. And into touch for a Whitecap throw. You really get a good sense from our field microphones about how much talk is going on down there. Something you don't really get sometimes when you're in the stands is Taka Hirano. Goes backwards to Retta. A right-footed ball, diagonal for Knight. Good first touch. Down the line for Lyle Martin. Tried to play it back. And Knight just couldn't get there, and Jared Goldberg picks up the pieces. Torres. And Vasquez sure made it look worse than it was. Marco Reda with the foul. And now Vasquez gets up chirping. And now a push And that could be the end of the game for whoever had to push there. I think it might have been Nunez.
It was Nunez.
And he'll be done if the referee spotted that. And that was a foolish play by Nunez, who's had a poor game.
And there's the tempers we spoke about as well. And for some reason, they just can't seem to control themselves. And I know that the referee, in their opinion, wound it up when he allowed the BK goal, the second goal. But there's absolutely no need for that. And it was right in front of the referee. He really has no choice but to send him off. He might take the easy way out and pull out yellow rather than red, though.
Well, Nunez has already been booked for dissent. As we have a look at the incident one more time. And who comes in here? Oh, it's absolutely Nunez. And what a stupid play by their number 10. I mean, he's their most experienced player who's played in top teams in Brazil. He's already on a yellow card, and he goes charging into Martin Nash. Zinho will not be happy with this. He's consulting the fourth official and the two assistant referees. And let's see what the man in the middle does on this occasion. Well, he's calling over Jared Goldberg. And I'm not sure if the referee knows who he's picking out here. Well, it is
he's going to give Nash one.
And that'll be it for Nunez if a yellow card comes out. Yellow card for Nash. Yellow card and a sending off for Nunez. That's the way it should be. Right on halftime.
And quite
Miami,
frankly, that could have been a direct red as well.
It absolutely could have been. And the Miami players giving it to the assistant referee a little bit now, Kevin DeLiva, who saw the whole thing himself. But that is a very, very rookie play by this man who has been invisible in the first half, and now he's put his team down a man. I don't think I'd even want to go walk over to the coach at this stage, and Zinho, I think, is fuming in his technical area. And now, if you thought it was difficult coming back from 2-1 down on the road, to try to do it with the 10 men, it's going to be almost impossible.
Flamengo, Fluminense, Botafogo, and as you mentioned, the most experienced man on the park for probably either team. And he gets a chorus of boos as he goes to the tunnel. Stupid play, not needed, and selfish. It hurts his teammates for sure.
And those bookings came in minute number 45.
Yellow card counts in minute 45.
So Martin Nash also in the referee's book.
A red card to Miami, number
Ramirez. As Miami try to salvage something now. They've done that before here at Swangard Stadium. We've had a couple of exciting games in the past as the ball is whipped into the middle of the box. And way up there was Kirby, and down goes Merritt, straight up in the air. And good run here by Vasquez. Maybe this will fire up Miami. You never know. These things have a funny way of inspiring teams sometimes. We've seen 10-men teams play extremely well.
Well, this is the most technically gifted team I've ever seen on a USL park. Miami's playing the ball around, individual skill terrific, but can they come together as a unit? We'll have to see with 10 men here.
We're into first half stoppage time. Andy Foster about to indicate how much time we're going to have added on, but we've had a couple of stoppages here, and the most lengthy was this most recent melee as things boiled over a little bit, and Zinho bemused in this technical area. They've ended the goal scoring streak, but they have fallen behind on 2 Charles Biquet goals in the first half here in Vancouver, and at the half it's the Whitecaps 2 and Miami FC 1.
A very entertaining first half, lots of goals, lots of goal action, some controversy near the end, and you see Zinho and the rest of the players surrounding the officials now as they make their way off the park, but really only themselves to blame to going down to 10 men. And perhaps some question about the second goal, but that's the way it goes, and you've got to recover from that and bounce back and play on.
Zurab Saskaridze was the man who scored the first goal. He scored for Miami off a corner in minute number 10. And then Charles Biquet leveled the affair on 16 minutes and made it 2-1 in minute number 34. First goal, a beautiful long throw by Wes Knight. And why not talk to the man who scored 2 goals here in the first half as we drop down to Kristen with our Setanta Sports interview at the half.
Thank you, Peter. Just wanted to ask you in particular about that second goal there. You got into a bit of a skirmish with the keeper, and they had some problems with the goal. Tell us from your side.
It's part of the game, and I have to go for the ball and challenge the goalkeepers. Sometimes I get knocked and sometimes I get hurt, but this time, it went my way, and I got a goal on it. We need that goal. We need 3 points right now. So we, just put everything there.
Talk about the offense. Obviously, you really knew you needed to break out a little bit in USL play. Happy to see those 2 go in.
yeah, it's important for me, especially for me, the confidence, scoring goals and stuff like that. But for the team, it's important too. So, always believe that I can score big goals for the club. So, always believe that, things gonna happen. Yeah.
They're down to 10 men. It looks like you're getting under their skin a little bit. How do you exploit that in the second half?
I'm going to try to push again, try to get another goal to get the 3-pointer. I think Marlon's going to come in too. It's going to bring a lot of offense, a lot of offensive play for us. So yeah, can't wait to play that second half. Yeah.
Good luck in it. Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Charles Piquet, 2 goals in that first half. The Whitecaps lead Miami FC Blues 2-1. Stay with us. Coming up, an interview with Whitecaps president Bob Lenarduzzi. You're watching Save on Foods Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw. An exciting first half playing out here, a little more reminiscent of the way the Vancouver Whitecaps played in the Nutrilite Canadian Championships. Whitecaps, of course, finished with a 3-1 record and put tremendous pressure on Toronto FC in their last game against Montreal. It's coming up June 18th, and Toronto's going to have to win by 4 goals or more, or the Whitecaps will take the crown. Of course, that means a berth in the CONCACAF Champions League. And after the way Montreal played last winter, there was really more than just pride on the line in just the second year of this tournament. The Whitecaps may have kicked off the Nutrilite Championship with a 1-0 loss against Toronto FC, but they served notice they would be a force to contend with in the 3-team tournament. The Whitecaps walked into Montreal and earned a 2-0 victory in their next game before returning home with another victory, this time 1-0 against the same Impact.
We felt like we played well in the first game against Toronto at Toronto. We were hoping to just get a point or something out of that, but we felt we left ourselves with a good chance. We let them know that we were in it to fight to the end, and then the last 3 games, once we got the result in Montreal and the last 2 we had home, we knew we had a really good chance.
In the Montreal game, we picked it up. We did a lot better, especially away and also at home. So every game we started getting better and better, and then the Toronto game was probably one of our best.
I think we didn't have such a bad game in Toronto. We didn't play as well we wanted, but the loss hurt. And then, we collected ourselves in Montreal. Getting the goals really helped, and we got into a rhythm for the rest of the tournament.
The 2 wins set up another showdown against Toronto FC. Yet another Whitecap stepped up, this time Anzu Torre, who found the back of the net at the 31-minute mark to turn the heat up on Toronto. Torre scored again in the 81st minute to put Toronto away and force them in a position of needing at least a 4-goal margin of victory against Montreal June 18th in order to steal the crown from the Caps.
We knew what we had to do going into our last game, and we got Toronto at home. It was a perfect setting, and I felt like the energy in the stadium, the energy of the team, everybody just came up for the game, and it was great.
We had a good run in the tournament and have a pretty good goal difference right now. So, they have to play against a good Montreal team and do well. So if we're scoring 4 goals against them, we're beating them by 4 goals is not going to be an easy task. So hopefully it goes our way.
They have to go to Montreal and win by 4. I don't see Montreal, getting a score. The new coach today is my friend, and I talked to him, and a couple players there, and they want to do everything to help us.
The Whitecaps will be on hand in Montreal for the final game. They will be there to hoist the trophy if they get some help from the Impact.
Sitting up in the corner, just praying, I guess, but we'll see. It's going to be tough. I don't know if everyone will want to go to the game. Guys might just show up last half hour and kind of, let their nerves go.
I think we're getting there at 6, and I think we're just going to fly there, right away and just enjoy the game and, try to celebrate thereafter.
I think we'll all be biting our nails unless it gets late and, there's 3 goals left to score. But, it's a huge tournament. I think all the teams have expressed how much it means to the club, and players to play against, teams in the CONCACAF.
I think winning the Canadian Championships, a lot of pride in it, but also I think for all the teams, seeing what Montreal were able to accomplish last year in the tournament and what it brought to their franchise, I think it's big, and all the players understand that and see that now more so than last year, and it's put that little extra into it.
Of course, the Whitecaps will find out June 18th. Stay with us. We've got Bob Lenarduzzi coming up next on Save on Foods, Vancouver Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw. Welcome back to Save on Foods, Vancouver Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw. Suddenly I'm having trouble talking. With us, the president of the team, Bob Lenarduzzi. And Bob, first of all, I haven't got to say it personally, but congratulations being given the MLS franchise. How exciting is it, and how busy has it been in the office?
It's been very busy, and that's a good thing because there's a lot of interest as a result of the MLS announcement, as evidenced by the fact that we put a block of 5,000 season ticket deposits up for sale, and they were gone within 48 hours. So we've recaptured what I like to refer as the dormant Whitecaps crowd from the 70s and 80s. All of a sudden they've awoken again and they're interested, and more than that, I think in general the move is perceived for us to be going to Major League, and it's resonated with people.
What are some of the things that really need to happen, obviously, before this team starts to play in 2011? You're looking at the renovations on BC Place. You have to get the rest of the tickets on sale. What's your priority right now?
Well, my priority from a technical perspective, working with Greg Anderson, who's the Director of Soccer Operations, is to try to determine how we can run parallel programs. We've got this year of USL, we've got the next year of USL, and at the same time we need to be looking ahead to MLS in 2011. And right now we're trying to wrap our heads around the MLS model, and how you can and can't sign players is much more complex than what we've been used to. So we're educating on ourselves on that side of it, and ideally within the next 2 to 3 months we'll come up with a plan and a work back plan from March of 2011 when we'll kick off in BC Place, and then try to stick to that plan. And really the models for us are just down the road in Seattle. They've had a great start for an expansion team, both on and off the field, and I don't think it's going to be any different here in Vancouver. BC Place, it'll be the new BC Place. It'll be very soccer specific. It'll be a very intimate 20,000 people that will be watching soccer in the venue. We don't need end zones. There'll be seats up behind the goals, and we're going to try and recreate that European type atmosphere that they've done in Toronto and in Montreal and in Seattle. Sorry.
You've seen some great local players that have really broken out this season. Are you going to be able to work in a little bit of that flavor once the MLS team comes about?
Well, and I'm assuming you're referring to the Ethan Gages and the Marcus Habers, and there's many more of them in our residency program. Our plan is to get those players in. What we don't want to do is play players at the expense of winning. We still want to win, but we think we can win and also blood players for MLS. We'd love to have a core of players for 2011 that grow with us over the course of the next 2 seasons, but that remains to be seen. The other thing that is always available to us as well is the designated player. You know, in the past, I've thought maybe that's not something we'd be interested in, but I think we're going to start putting the feelers out there and see if there's any Beckham equivalents that want to come to Vancouver.
The excitement begins. We're almost running out of time, but I did want to mention the initiative you started here at Swangard in terms of trying to create no waste here when fans are obviously coming to the game.
Yes, if the fans are going to get it, because when they go to the washroom, they'll be looking at it. All around the stadium, we have our recycling bins, and it's specific as to what goes in those bins. We're proud of it. We're proud of the fact that our management and our staff, our playing staff, coaching staff have all gotten into it, and we think it's a great initiative, and the world needs some help in terms of the environment, and we're trying to do our small part to lead the way.
Like I was trying to do their part to take this game. They've got a 2-1 lead. For highlights and analysis of that first half, let's send it back. Peter Shadd and Paul Dolan.
Well, Kristen, 3 goals, a sending off and a skirmish. No shortage of BC Hydro Power Smart stats, starting with a goal kind of against the run of a play, but beautiful goal from Miami FC.
It really was. It's from a Walter Ramirez corner kick, and the header is to the far post. West Knight comes off the post a little bit, but I don't know that would have changed the result of that terrific header. And Miami finds himself up 1-0. But back the other way, another good header from BK, this time from a West Knight throw in. And the header is perfect. It's down and off the grass, quick into the corner, beyond the outstretched hands of Shaney. And BK does it again, this time from a West Knight free kick. And I thought this was a foul after having looked at it a couple of times. And I can see why the Miami players are upset. Charles BK does everything right here. And more times than not, that is called a foul. But on this occasion, the Whitecaps get the rub of the luck.
Nunez was called for dissent, was booked there, and then the game boiled over. Just before the end of the first 45 minutes, Martin Nash scolding Vasquez. In comes Nunez with an unnecessary push, and he is sent off. Nash cautioned as well in minute number 45. And so Miami FC down to 10 men as we have a look at the stats now, brought to you by the province. The Whitecaps with those 2 goals from Charles Biquet, and in fairly short succession after the goal by Siskarize. It was a terrific goal by the visitors, but the Whitecaps have totally taken over. It's going to be tough to come back now with the shots favoring the Whitecaps, as do the corners, and the fouls, 8 to Vancouver's 7. Whitecaps 2, Miami FC 1. More Save On Foods Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw coming up next with the second half kickoff. Save On Foods, Vancouver Whitecaps Soccer is back on Shaw for 2009. I'm Peter Shadd alongside Hall of Fame goalkeeper Paul Dolan as we get set to bring you the second half of the Whitecaps, leading by 2-1. The Whitecaps now defending the north goal to our left, all in their Umbro white. Miami FC down to 10 men defending the south side to our right. And Kenny Shaney will have a good time with the Southsiders behind him here in the second half. It's Miami FC to kick off. I haven't seen any substitutes as yet, but there might have been one. And I believe that Alan Marcina is into the game, so that might be our first Energy Max substitution, which happened at halftime as the Whitecaps try to build on a 2-1 lead. They haven't made any changes. Tater Torderson has stood pat. And I'm guessing Vasquez is the man off. It is. So Vasquez out, Alan Marcina, the Lower Mainlander, in, and that is our Energy Max substitution. Coming out of 45 minutes. Whitecaps will probably introduce Marlon James at some point, and I wouldn't be surprised if they build up a lead here to see a couple of other guys like Kennel Versailles.
Well, you certainly expected to see Marcina come in at some point, but now a man down, all the more difficult for him to get involved. But if there's any man out there now with the desire to try to score against Vancouver, it's certainly going to be the Lower Mainland product and a guy who played here a couple of years ago.
And there's been another substitution as well, as Cristiano Diaz has come into the match. He's wearing number 4, and I believe he has replaced, it isn't Zach Kirby. We'll have that figured out for you in just a second here. As Charles Biquet is surrounded by blue shirts, and Diaz's first contribution for Miami is a foul as the Whitecaps will step forward. Ethan Gage will leave it for Nash. So Diaz is in the center of the Miami FC back 4. And so I'm guessing he's might have taken off Perdomo, or Walter Ramirez is out, one or the other. I thought Ramirez was, no, Ramirez is still out there. As it's sent into Miami territory, Hirano keeps it in deep down the left. Can he keep the ball in play? Does. Toure closed down, and does he win a corner? No, it's a goal kick here in minute number 47.
Well, the team trailing is going to have to press the issue a little bit now. And so Marcina, while he's on his own right now up front, you'd expect Miami to throw bodies, particularly midfielders, forward when the occasion arises. And a little bit more urgency, too, from Miami will be needed to try to claw this goal back.
I believe it's Merritt who is taken off for Miami, so that's the other substitution. Diaz in for Merritt, so his fans who come up from Gig Harbor will be a little disappointed. And the Whitecaps standing pat, as mentioned. Just going over the 11 once again. It's Jay Nolly in goal for the Whitecaps. Knight, Retta, Charles, and Hirano at the back. Martin, Gage, Nash, and Toure through midfield. Biquet with 2 goals alongside Marcus Haber up front. And for Miami, Shaney in goal. Perdomo, Kirby, Sescarize is still in. And now it's Cristiano Diaz, Goldberg, Torres, Ramirez. Nuno was sent off in the first half. And so now they have just Alan Marcina basically up front. Kirby chips it off Toure and out for a Miami throw. Cools off a little bit here in Burnaby, British Columbia. Started game time at about 20 Celsius, and we've dropped down to 17 at the moment. Still very comfortable. There'll be a bit of dew forming on that field, so it might get a little quicker for the ball at least. Araujo. Good footwork at the edge of the Whitecap penalty area. Plays it wide for Marcina. Didn't spend a long time in Vancouver in that trade for Joey Jertson and David Testo that saw Zé Roberto come the other way from Miami. Sescarize made a charge forward, and he's going to have to do that a little bit more now with Miami down a man and a goal. Ramirez looking forward with Marcina in the Whitecap penalty area, and again Ramirez with one of those body checks that he sends Wes Knight to the deck. That's the second time he's been fouled for something similar.
I think he's so used to trying to draw fouls that he leaves his feet and ends up barging into the player who's actually marking him at the time. At least there was no complaint this time.
Jay Nolly will take the free kick. and will go right-footed into Miami territory. Up goes BK with Diaz, who's an excellent player wearing number 4. Surprised he didn't start, actually, as Goldberg nods it through the middle of the park. Nash pokes it back neatly for Retta, and then Ethan Gage back to West Charles. Right-footed ball driven down the near side touchline. Lyle Martin could catch up to this, and just about did. Just couldn't pull it back in play. It'll be a goal kick to our right.
Well, if anyone could catch it, it was Lyle Martin, but he wasn't going to do much with it once he got there. Just a little bit too much in it from Wesley Charles. And you mentioned Siskaridze probably wanting to push forward a little bit more. He's just got to pick his time, because he is still just a goal down. They don't want to leave gaps in the back by pushing too much forward at this early of a stage yet.
Southsiders getting right into this match now as Knight sends it forward. BK working on a hat trick right now, but Siskaridze, who's been excellent tonight, probably Miami's best player, nodded back into Miami territory from Knight. And then Jared Goldberg, who's been very busy in the middle of Miami FC's midfield. Goldberg again. Ooh, closed down by BK, and the crumbs fall to Lyle Martin, who steps forward, chips it through nicely. Marcus Haber lets it run. Anzu Toure keeps it in play. Can he get a left-footed delivery in now? Cuts to the inside, heads into the penalty area, rolls it back for Martin Nash, top of the box, onto his left foot, carries on, stays on his feet, and wins a corner on the far side.
He just kind of froze there, Nash. There was nothing on for him, and he was never going to win the foot race battle in the corner, but he does win a corner kick.
And this one will be a right-footed delivery in minute number 51 from the far quadrant. Nash pumps it in low, beautiful cross, punched straight up in the air by Shaney. Waiting there is Gage, who stumbled, and Araujo had it pushed away. And Knight finds Gage, the 18-year-old number 20. Down the line it goes for Lyle Martin. Right-footed delivery, not bad, in the box. BK with a header, and just put it wide of the far post. Good ball by Lyle Martin as he found his big number 98 in the box.
Lyle Martin has had a very good game, and so has that man BK. This is a good curling cross, no chance for the keeper to come. Well driven, and BK there rehearsing what he knows he should have done better.
And he's getting serenaded now by the Southsiders. Here in minute 52, Whitecaps 2, Miami FC 1. Ramirez up for a header, but it's Knight who wins that one. Got it more in the face on that occasion, and then a little bit of a push behind the play. Lyle Martin couldn't get around Goldberg, and Jared Goldberg will touch it back for Siskaridze, who sends it forward for Marcina. Marcina scored in his debut for the Whitecaps, and then didn't score again. Pretty good in Puerto Rico, though. He had that 1 year, and I think that's what sort of got him on the USL radar.
He had a decent year in Montreal as well. Went to Rochester, Puerto Rico again, I believe.
And Minnesota. So it's his 6th club in USL 1, Alan Marcina. That would make you a journeyman by this league standards. As the ball's nodded down, away goes Anzu Toure with a bit of space in front of him. Gets around Torres. Remember, Miami down to 10 men after the sending off of Nunez. Martin Nash with a beautiful driven ball. Look at Lyle Martin on the end of this, and he screams into the heavens. He wanted to play it first time through for BK, but maybe he might have just held on to that one for a moment.
I think,
from up here.
Sorry, Peter. I think that was the right play, the intention to play it first time into BK. But he just left the foot a little close to the body.
And that's what we know from Martin Nash, those kind of balls that can just open teams right up, and especially with a little bit more room in the Miami half of the field. Nash was trying to spread it around a little bit quickly. Nice header forward by Ramirez. Flag goes up on Marcina, and the Whitecaps will have possession back. If you're just joining us, Charles Biquet has both goals for the Whitecaps after Siskaridze opened the scoring for Miami off a corner. Beautiful header in the 10th minute. Takahirano for Marco Retta. The Whitecap backline hasn't been tested out too much apart from that corner as Charles belts it forward looking for Toure. It goes past everybody and off for a throw.
And Charles doesn't need to force those balls. It's the Whitecaps with the extra man and the goal advantage. And he could do with some patience, just move the ball around the back, find your openings. No need for them to hit that long ball just now.
And a good run here. But Araujo lost out to Takahirano. And again, Nash will send it near side. Can Lyle Martin keep this one? It does. And he's got lots of room down this side. And look at West Knight on the overlap. Martin, top of the box for Haber. His shirt being grabbed. Through ball for Knight, but that's cut out by Martinez, or Ramirez, I should say. And then that was a high boot. West Knight is getting called for it. Knight came over to offer a hand for Ramirez, but there was a boot high there too to the face of West Knight.
He's done it again, Ramirez. Watch here. He leaves his feet and he's gone with a right foot in a lunging fashion. I mean, that really could go against Ramirez again. He does that every time.
And there was no way he was going to catch up to that ball either. And you have to commend West Knight for taking the high road and just walking away and maybe even offering a hand up. Jared Goldberg comes over to have a word with the referee. Goldberg's wearing the captain's armband. But I think it's West Knight who's going to get booked here. At least he's getting a stern talking to from the man in the middle. Our referee tonight, who wasn't actually initially scheduled to be refereeing this game.
Well, and I think it's a somewhat effective tactic by Ramirez, drawing attention to the foul, but the referee's got it right on most occasions tonight.
And now it'll be a free kick against Marco Retta, I believe. And a dangerous free kick opportunity. We've seen Siskarize hit them from out here. He's going to get another chance from about 35 yards, maybe a little bit farther out. And I think Marco Retta was booked on that play as well in minute number 56.
He has gone into the book, and I'm not quite sure exactly what happened there. But we saw earlier in the game Siskarize with a long-range effort that Nolly had to parry over. And this is about the same position. He's got a good left foot, and Ramirez again will line up right in front of Siskarize.
Jay Nolly not taking any chances. Marco Retta was booked in minute number 56. And there's the blast, and he's certainly got a lot of power behind it, but this one was about 3 yards too high. It'll be a goal kick to our left in minute number 7. They have his first name on his jersey. His last name too long to fit on a jersey. And Jay Nolly with the goal kick to our left. So Zinho only has one substitute left. And a through ball all the way for Haber. Diaz there. And now the Whitecaps get a free kick opportunity as Diaz called for his second foul. And he's not happy with that decision.
It seems as if the referee is calling some of these niggly fouls a little bit more than he did in the first half. And it's causing players on both teams to question what's happening here. I guess that is a push in the back.
Diaz is one of 3 Brazilians in this squad. It's quite a multicultural group. Most of them aren't here. 10 Americans, 3 Brazilians, 2 Cubans, 2 Colombians, 2 Hondurans. And then we have El Salvador, Argentina, Canada also represented here. Martin Nash standing off the ball and a 3-man Miami wall. Little touch square. Long drive straight on target. Not a bad effort by Anzu Toure.
Well, we've seen him strike them for both the Whitecaps and their opponents over the years, because Toure is another player that's toured around the league. We saw a couple of fantastic goals last year when he scored for Atlanta against Vancouver, and of course the goal just last week against Toronto. That's a good strike.
Good job of keeping it down, but straight into the breadbasket. Now it's all of a sudden gotten whistle happy here in the second half, and I think the referee would be wise just to let them play a little bit.
I agree with you.
But he's probably a little concerned that the game might boil over again, and that's probably why he's trying to clamp down on things here. Is Retta, who's on a yellow card. So is Martin Nash. And the one thing the Whitecaps don't want to do is lose anybody to a sending off here. Not just for this game, as Alan Marcina is again offside, and he hit it afterwards. That could be a yellow card, but I'm not sure if the referee's going to give it here in minute 59.
And that's what Marco Retta is saying to the referee. Why does he not have a yellow card when you've just booked me for something that appeared to be minor? But in that occasion, certainly after the whistle, well after the whistle, Marcina, who's offside for the second time already here in the second half. That was something that was a problem for Miami in the first half as well, their offsides.
We're going to have another Energy Max substitution in just a moment here for Miami. They'll use their third and final sub, which is Zinho's last substitution. Orlando Buezo is about to come in. We'll see who he's going to take off. He's a midfielder, and he's the second Honduran on this team, as Knight sends it wide for Lyle Martin. Got himself nicely around Ramirez, the other Honduran on the squad, but here comes Goldberg once again. Played inside for Torres. Gage all over him. Ramirez tries to get outside Knight, but Knight is there step for step. Ramirez knocks it deep, and good sliding tackle by Knight. The ball just over the line for a Miami corner, and this is where they have to be careful because Ramirez, of course, served up the goal, and Siscaridze is heading into that penalty area now for Miami.
Wes Knight did very well to get back and track the speedy Ramirez to make that sliding tackle. Again, difficult with pace to get the ball across, but Ramirez managed to do that, albeit into the foot of the sliding Wes Knight. So Miami making their change now, and we'll see what that brings.
The Energy Max sub, Orlando Buezo, into the game for Torres here in minute number 60. Near post ball, decent ball too. Kirby. Buezo is just on. Right-footed ball into the penalty area, hammered away. Now look at all the space in front of Martin Nash. Little layoff for Torre. Anzu Torre carries on. He's going to test the pace of Buezo here. Into the penalty area against Goldberg. Cuts back, gets to the outside, sends it through. Piqué was there, nodded away by Kirby. Carano keeps play alive. And this is what's going to happen for Miami here. Nice touch. Torre, left-footed ball, whips it in this time. And nodded away near post by Perdomo. And now it's Takahirano again. Again for Torre. Attack, 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 attack. The cry from the south centers. Good ball whipped in again. Goalkeeper nowhere there, and that forces a corner from the Whitecaps in minute number 61. And a couple of times tonight, Kenny Shaney's flapped at crosses in.
He's very unsettled, and it happened before the second BK goal. That only made matters worse, and ever since then he hasn't caught anything. He's been punching and flapping at everything, as you say, Peter, and that's led to another Vancouver corner kick.
Left footer this time from Nash on the near side. And all the Whitecaps except for Haber outside the 6-yard box. Pelted in beautifully, headed by BK straight up in the air. And Haber's up and undered, and he got up and actually got a piece of that ball as Gage couldn't chest it down, chips it down the line. Nash, can he keep it in? Does do so. Right-footed ball, but that's in behind and off for a goal kick. You do sense the Whitecaps are going to get a good chance for a third, the way things are going right now.
Well, there's all sorts of goal-mouth action. A very exciting game through this first hour of play. And it looks as if we'll see some more excitement, too, because Marlon James is going to come into the game for the Whitecaps in place of Marcus Haber.
There's your Energy Max sub. Haber out for Marlon James, who's back. Remember, he went down with a hamstring injury against Portland, I believe it was. And so he's on the field, and what a handful now with both James and BK to deal with up front. Not only size in the air, but James is a beast with the ball. He is so difficult to defend against.
And Tater Torgerson calls him a finisher. You get him the ball and he puts it away. He had a hat trick earlier this year against Minnesota.
Irano in a battle there. Oh, and that should have been a foul against Kirby, who was all over BK. BK stood his ground. Toure in a battle for this. This is a chippy game now as the ball is off Toure and out. Down the line it goes. Bueno, nice ball back from Marcina, onside this time. And in goes Reda to slam it off the legs of Marcina. Back into the penalty area and away from Toure. He got a little shove in the back. And then Marlon James looking for his first touch, and that ball is going to roll off and out. Wes Knight to take this throw. Gage. BK on the chase against Diaz. And BK did a good job of convincing Kevin DeLiba to point the flag in the Whitecaps' direction. And it'll be Wes Knight again serving this one up with both James and BK in the penalty area, and maybe even Wes Charles to join them. Now Charles is going to stay back. Wes Knight all the way back to the running track. Can he add his third setup of the game? Whips it in beautifully all the way through. Gee whiz, and Charles BK went down, but looked like he had position on that particular cross. Bueno. And the ball is off and out for a Whitecap throw, and Zinho again flapping his arms in frustrations. He's down to 10 men. He's used all 3 of his subs, and he has to hope that nobody gets hurt from here on in.
Well, it's an uphill climb for sure. This is a team that can do it, although they haven't scored a lot in their last 5 games. They've got a very talented squad. It's just a matter of finding someone up front who can put the ball away. They're without Diego Serna, their best player on the season, with 4 points.
Here's James, he's free. Marlon James gets around his man, and a great tackle by who else? Tiscaridze, and it'll be another Whitecap corner.
And really, he should have pulled the trigger when he had the chance on his right foot there. Try to make one move too many. You don't want to question a guy who's got the finishing record that Marlon James has, but on that occasion there, that's when he should have struck it.
He could easily score from out there too. Had the goal of the week in that goal against Minnesota. Martin Nash. And West Charles is up on this occasion. It went over his head, and Diaz will just let that run. It's off and out for a goal kick. 65th minute, Whitecaps 2, Miami FC 1. Charles Biquet with both Whitecap goals. Peter Shad and Paul Dolan, happy to have you along for Save On Foods. Whitecap Soccer on Shaw. As the goalkeeper to our right, Kenny Shaney, has had a bit of a tough night tonight. And the Whitecaps about to make another substitution here. It could be the end of the road for Lyle Martin, as Vicente Arce is set to come in. Ramirez. Tiscaridze. And off and out by Charles, and now the Whitecaps will have a chance to make the change, and it'll be Lyle Martin, I believe. It is. Lyle Martin's had a good night, and I'm sure Tater Torderson will be very pleased with his efforts. But he's going to have a seat now as Vicente Arce, the Bolivian, will come into right midfield.
Yeah, I think Lyle Martin's been outstanding tonight. Arce, a very similar type player, certainly not the wheels, but perhaps more of a touch. Similar to some of the Miami players, in fact, the Bolivian.
And the fans recognize the kind of game that Lyle Martin's had tonight. And he's still getting fit. He may not be at 100% Lyle Martin pace yet, but as the season wears on, he'll be a valuable weapon and a terrific option for Tater Torderson. Knight. And the ball will go out for a Whitecap goal kick. Substitution there, brought to you by our friends at Energy Max, as Vicente Arce, who's been used mostly off the bench for the last few games here, will get a chance to show what he can do. And Paul mentioned the great crosses he whips in on occasion. As Jay Nolly thumps it into Miami territory, James make that BK up for it. And look out, here comes Marcina against West Charles. Got an important touch in there, and it's hacked away by Hirano. And then down goes James. And the Whitecaps will be concerned that he went down and is staying down. That's BK, actually, isn't it?
I think the call is a handball, but yeah, BK appears to be injured on that play.
It's funny, BK and James, they stand about the same size. They have the same broad shoulders. And they're the same kind of players, although Marlon James is a little bit more solid on the feet, but it's got to be so difficult to mark both these guys. One of them's a handful enough, but the two of them together, that's got to be a great prospect for Tater Torderson.
Well, you swap one for another. Big Marcus Haber goes off and Marlon James comes in. We talked about the height disadvantage Miami has. Oftentimes in soccer it doesn't matter, but the Whitecaps are using that height up front to their advantage tonight.
Arce with a great first touch off his chest. Long hit by Gage, great save, rebound! BK for the hat trick, oh, he couldn't get there! What a terrific strike by Ethan Gage. And it was offside in any case.
Oh, and a sensational save by the keeper. I mean, we've questioned a couple of things Kenny Shaney has done in the goal tonight, but that is a superb effort. And while BK may have been offside, certainly the strike here would have counted had that gone in from Ethan Gage, and the deflection helped Gage there. Shaney did very well, though, to get the paw up and stop that one from going in.
Zach Kirby gets up slowly. We will see if that has an impact in this particular game. If Miami can somehow sneak an equalizer, Kenny Shaney will go down as quite a hero for that stop. And how about Ethan Gage? The kid's got some confidence now, blasting that one from well beyond 25 yards. And tipped off the bar and staying out in minute number 69. Terrific game here and a terrific season opener on Shaw. Save On Foods Whitecap Soccer. It was Marlon James against Diaz. This time Diaz got the pieces. Toure getting outside his man, but it's off and out for a Miami throw.
Well, it's been an exciting game. We've seen lots of good skill in the build-up, some good finishing, a couple of good saves as well.
And that one given away rather cheaply. BK beaten to it there by Kirby. And then it's off and out. Taka Hirano not happy with that particular call, and so Miami will get the throw. As we've reached the 70th minute, Whitecaps still leading by 2-1.
The intensity level as well, Peter, has been very high.
Again, Ramirez called for the foul.
That's outrageous. I mean, it's a bad habit.
It's also a little bit on the reckless side and dangerous side too. I mean, that's about the 4th time we've seen him connect with an opposing player. That ball goes all the way through to Cheney. Most of the Whitecaps hardcore faithful have assembled to our right in behind Cheney's goal as Charles nods the ball straight up in the air. James with a lovely header down, and Vicente Arce has acres of room down this right flank. Closed down by Diaz, good ball in the box. Headed away by Siscaridze. And here comes Bueno. Charging back for Miami. 10 men Miami after Nunez was sent off in the 45th minute. Bueso on the charge there. And now Knight. Crossing midfield on the deck for James. Nice little touch. Can Arce keep that in? It was just a little too heavy as James tries to get back into his rhythm. But you like the idea there with the target men back to goal. And the Whitecaps have 2 of them to choose from. Marcina, only as far as Gage. Just moments ago, nearly made it 3-1. Great run by Gage, leaves for Arce, overlapping his Gage. Right-footed delivery in the box. James with a header, and that's straight at the goalkeeper. The Whitecaps coming on in waves now. That extra player has helped them out.
That's been their route to success tonight too, is the driven-in ball from the wing. Finding the target man. They've had some good headed balls toward goal.
Araujo just ran himself into trouble there. Goldberg on the follow-up. So Miami has to press forward to try to get a result here. They opened the season with 2 wins and have come up empty since then. They did end their long goal-less drought, though, with that corner kick goal by this man, the Georgian, Zurad Sescaridze. And that's a giveaway, and again, look at all the space in front of Martin Nash. He's got Toure on the jot, and there's a great ball for Anzu Toure. Toure's first touch wasn't the greatest. Onto his left foot, tries to get outside, goes down and wins a corner at least, but it all seemed to go in slow motion when the ball got to his feet.
Yeah, and you're right, it's all because the first touch wasn't good enough. It held him up, allowed the defender to get back. But good vision, as always, from Martin Nash, who loves to play those penetrating balls. And you're going to find more and more space with Miami having to commit players forward.
Left-footed delivery from Toure, floats it up into the penalty area. BK with the header, crossbar and down. There was a foul in the box though. But Charles BK's done everything but got his hat trick tonight.
And it still may yet come with 18, 19 minutes to go here.
Terrific header.
Yeah, I didn't see the push there, but referee's giving it.
Kirby. Cuts inside. Outside of the right foot with a beautiful ball. Now can Brasina do something with this? He's got some space down the right flank. On his right foot, whips it into the penalty area. Hirano with an awkward but effective touch wins the ball back and rolls it through for Nash. And then Nash switches play beautifully, and again Vicente Arce is on the chase, and again he's going to watch it run into touch, and that's got to be frustrating for the Bolivian.
Well, I was going to say, when Lyle Martin was on the park, the midfielders had the advantage of just whacking it to the wing and knowing that Martin would track it down. I don't think even Martin would have got that one, though. No slight on Vicente.
James, edge of the box. Watched by Diaz, turns. Stays on his feet beautifully. BK back to goal, rolls it back. Gage thought about hitting it. Now hits it square for Nash. James on possession, Toure on possession. A little chip across, flapped out again. Arce, only half cleared by Ramirez. Arce gets it deep. keeps the ball in play, and now here comes Wes Knight. Can he serve up his third assist here? Right into the penalty area, and out comes the goalkeeper, and that gives us a chance to check in with Christian Reed and Lyle Martin.
Thanks, Peter, with Lyle Martin. Your team seems to be having their way with Miami a little bit here. Would you like to see your team pile on just to get that confidence, that goal-scoring confidence again?
Definitely. I mean, we've been all over them. We've hit the crossbar, 2 times now, and we've been crossing it in at least 50 times. I think our offense is definitely coming along right now in this part of the season.
Before this game, you guys were calling this a must-win. You wanted to get back on track in the USL. Is this kind of the breakout you needed?
Yeah, this would definitely be a good time to get those 3 points. I mean, we win now, then we got a whole week off, and then we go to Montreal, and then we travel to Cleveland, and we got another week off. So, I mean, to get the 3 points now, to get that momentum going again would be really good.
Thanks for this. Good luck to your team.
No problem. Thank you.
Peter.
What a great character, Lyle Martin, as Arce, the man who replaced him, whips it in. Marlon James with a cheeky little back heel, and he wins another corner for the Whitecaps. You really can tell the maturity level of Lyle Martin just in interviews and just how he conducts himself, but he's still one of the most fun players on the Whitecaps and knows how to have a good time, Lyle Martin, as we have another look at the cross and the little back heel from James that took a touch off of Kirby and out. Corner from the near side now, minute 76, left-footed ball in, flicked all the way through and in the back of the goal. Don't know who got the last touch, but it'll be the Whitecaps' third goal, and Marco Reda has his second of the season. And in minute 76, it's the Whitecaps 3, Miami FC 1.
It really was only a matter of time. This time it's another whipped-in ball, this time from the set piece. Good flick on, and Reda in the right place. It goes off his knee and in the goal, and Marco Reda makes it 3-1 for Vancouver.
Well, the Whitecaps had a 4-1 win against Miami in the playoffs back in 06 when they went on to win the championship. And they wouldn't mind a similar result here as Marco Reda with his second goal as a Whitecap this season. He scored the equalizing goal against Austin on the road from a West Knight throw-in. As Miami restart things, the referee wants them to do it over again. And that goal in minute number 76. So that's a great return for Marco Reda.
He's had a pretty solid game, Marco Reda. Not the fleetest of foot, we mentioned that before, but very good in the air, very good understanding defensively, and he can contribute offensively every now and then as well.
Another dangerous free kick opportunity. This time Siskeridze stays back. And Ramirez standing off the ball. And the Whitecaps setting up a 4-man wall just to the edge of their 18-yard box and slightly to the right. Orlando Bueso standing off this along with Ramirez. Minute number 78 now. Can Miami respond after the Whitecaps took the 2-goal lead? Bueso and Ramirez. Which of the Hondurans will take this one? It's Ramirez, and it's in! Or was it? It is now. It's 3-2. And from a set play, Miami have responded in minute 78.
Well, you figure that's the only way they were going to score was from set pieces. They got the early goal from the corner kick, and now this one, I think you're right, Peter. I think that goes in. Well, no, maybe it didn't. But it does now, and it doesn't matter. It's 3-2, and the Whitecaps have game on again.
What a great job by Rich Perdomo, who went flying in to make sure that was a goal. Whitecaps 3, Miami 2, Perdomo with the goal in minute number 78. And so the 2-goal cushion is once again erased as Knight sends a beautiful ball in, testing out the goalkeeper again, but this time Shaney comes up with it, and we have ourselves a fantastic start to Save on Foods Whitecaps Soccer on Shaw.
Well, I'd have written Miami off, but a free kick opportunity gives them a chance to show their skill. They haven't really created a lot outside of midfield, but here's a chance.
Look out! Marcina got in behind, but Taka Hirano's there to cover after Marco Reda kind of made a meal of that header. The man who put the Whitecaps 3-1 up. And back comes Miami once again. Fans are loving this as Toure. And the ball goes off Miami and out for a Whitecap throw on the far side. Araujo not happy with that decision. The Brazilian, who's had a pretty good game wearing the number 9 shirt for Miami, Toure. And Araujo now cutting inside. Goldberg tried to spin off his man Gage, who's called for the foul. Can Miami salvage a point? Boy, would that be a real letdown for the Whitecaps if they squander this 3 points here at Swangard Stadium, trying to end a 3-game slide. Siskaridze steps up and has a long go from distance, and Nolly just covered it.
Oh.
And it's a corner.
Well, I thought, what are you thinking shooting from there? But they've won themselves a corner. Nolly really didn't judge where he was in the goal very well.
And the Whitecaps have to be very careful here, as set plays have done them in from Miami, and it's going to be Ramirez heading over to the far side, and he'll hammer this one in. And guess who's up and ready for this free kick, or this corner kick? Siskaridze, who's being watched a little closer this time by Charles. Here comes the corner, left-footed, floated in, and headed. Oh, what a terrific chance! Perdomo almost had his second goal. He was all alone and unmarked at the edge of the 6. And if that ball's on target, it would have been 3-3. How is he so unmarked? Oh my goodness.
Open, wide open header. And he's not a tall player either, but it was a free header that really he should have put in the back of the net.
And there's a bit of an uneasy feeling here at Swangard Stadium in minute number 81 as Rich Perdomo with the goal, and then nearly drawing level as Toure couldn't keep that ball in play. And remember, Miami down to 10 men after the sending off of Nunez in the first half on 45 minutes. And Miami's had most of the ball here in the last few moments. Through ball again, Marcinez offside. That's about the 3rd time already the second half substitute's been called.
Now that's 4 games in a row that the Whitecaps have allowed 2 goals. When they started the season, very tight in the back.
Come on, we gotta go. Tighten up, tighten up.
Knight. You heard Todd Warasek shouting from the bench on that occasion. Nice touch from James, finds Arce. And then Knight for Nash. You heard Warasek there saying to Knight, why not cross that one? As the Whitecaps keep the ball on the deck, and that ball, a bit of a giveaway from Hirano. He's lucky to get it back again at midfield. Then for Retta, who right now has the winning goal if the Whitecaps hang on, switches play for Knight. Off the chest, chased down by Ramirez. Charles chips it near side for Arce, over his head. Will it stay in? It will for James. Marlon James gets around Diaz with a good ball, and then it's hammered off and out. And is that a corner? I believe so. Whitecaps have dominated in that category. Vicente Arce was having a conversation with a number of his opponents tonight, all in Spanish. As Nash slowly comes over in minute number 82. And remember, Marco Retta scored off a corner 10 minutes or so ago. And again, a good ball played in, and the header by Bique, and he got his head, good contact, but over the crossbar and out.
The Whitecaps have absolutely dominated Miami in the air. And you felt it was just a matter of time before they got a third from a cross ball into the area, and they did from the corner, and it almost was number 4 there.
From the goal kick, Charles nods it through. James couldn't win the follow-up, and Jared Goldberg, who's really been a buzzsaw in the middle of Miami's formation, wins basically a corner here as he found Marcina, and Charles is forced to knock it out. And again, Miami with a chance to equalize from a set play, this time a near-sided corner.
Much better run from Marcina there. He's quick enough that he doesn't need to start in the offside position. He was able to get in behind West Charles after the ball skipped off the grass.
Ramirez floats this one up to the back post, headed straight back across and out for another corner, as James was kind of caught in an awkward position there. Or was that Bique who nodded it back? But nevertheless, another corner, this time for Ramirez again, as he sends a right-footed ball into the box. Nolly only flapped at it, and only one man back, and that's Goldberg. Right-footed ball floated for Diaz, who slipped and fell. Toure only as far as Araujo. Nash, look out at all the space over here. James is onside, it's 2v1. Goldberg's the only man back. Toure with a clear path to goal. Back to James, is he onside? Oh, the goalkeeper came out and won it beautifully at the edge of the box. as the Whitecaps couldn't take advantage of all sorts of open field. And Tater Torderson wants the players to get back, as Arce does a great job to win the ball back against Ramirez. And then for Gage, and there's some pushing and shoving there. Referee plays advantage. Torre, long hit from distance and wide left.
Wow. Well, sometimes you could accuse players of showboating by passing back and forth, but I thought on both occasions it was the right play. It was just a poor touch from James, and the ball got away from him. The keeper was able to pounce. But that will be a big missed opportunity if the Whitecaps end up tying this game. And now there's more kerfuffle at midfield.
And what is Charles Biquet doing? Charles Biquet is absolutely livid with Cristiano Diaz.
Well, he seems to be livid with his own player and Wesley Charles as well. I hope we don't see another Wigan incident.
It's been testy from the start here. And Wes Charles and Marco Retta having a few words, as the Whitecaps seem to have some dissension in their own camp right now. And what is Biquet doing? You're right, he was beaking at Wesley Charles. And Charles and Biquet, you haven't seen that since Newcastle United, when two players fought each other and were both sent off playing Aston Villa one game. That is a bizarre situation. And Biquet had told his dad he's going to settle down a little bit. But on this occasion, I simply do not understand what he was thinking.
I said Wigan. I think you're right. It was Newcastle this year, wasn't it?
It was a few years ago, and I think Craig Bellamy was
an instance this year as well. I tell you what, he's going to get sent off for this, just as it happened this year in the Premiership. Unbelievable.
And who is it? Is it Wes Charles?
I can only guess what's happened. Is it Wesley Charles has had a go at Charles Biquet for not finishing that one.
It's a red card to Wes Charles. That is a disaster. The Whitecaps already thin at the back. Wes Charles just coming off an injury, and for no reason whatsoever, leading 3-2, Wes Charles has been sent off in minute number 87. What a bizarre night of soccer at Swangard Stadium. And the Whitecaps have basically handed Miami an opportunity now to level the affair. 10 men each. Mason Trafford about to come in, and Wesley Charles with a lot of explaining to do when he gets to his coach, Tater Torderson.
Well, it doesn't look like he's going to have any explaining to do, because he's walking straight away from the bench.
Not to mention the fact that they're going to miss one of their players. But that is bizarre.
Have we got that wrong? That was an internal fight, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what happened before Charles Biquet came in and started pushing his own teammate around. All I saw was Biquet coming in and pushing at Wesley Charles, unless Charles did something before then, and that's what infuriated Biquet. Mason Trafford is coming in for Anzu Toure. It's our Power Max substitution here in minute number 88. As Trafford will be asked to Energy Max substitution, as Trafford will be forced into trying to play a little bit defensively here with just a few minutes plus stoppage time to be added. And Biquet was booked in that melee as well.
A red card to the Whitecaps, number 6, Wesley Charles.
We've had it all in this match, that's for sure.
The Whitecaps have to be careful here because they get a free kick to defend. And everybody is stepping forward. Nothing to lose now for Miami, and lots of room up the field. And again, it's going to be Ramirez who's going to set it up. Right-footed ball to the box, all the way through and out for a goal kick. Jay Nolly's not in any hurry to get this ball back in play here with just 2 minutes plus stoppage time to be added. And I think there's going to be a bit of stoppage time given the fracas that occurred a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to find out exactly what happened there. It looks as if BK now is having some words with Tater Torderson. Just a positional strategy right now.
James got a piece of it, but there's nobody else up there as Miami's dropped everybody off, and Siska Riedze, who opened the scoring in this game back in the 10th minute from a corner, and Jared Goldberg. And even if the Whitecaps do end up winning this game, there'll still be some questions asked here tonight. A, about discipline, and B, about defending. As Paul mentioned, it's going to be 4 straight games where they've allowed 2 goals.
And they've dropped BK back now to leave Marlon James as the only forward. Somewhat surprising that Toure would come off and have BK drop back there, but you'll see Gordon Chin come into play now.
He'll probably take off Ethan Gage in the last few moments here as Knight sends a right-footed ball for the chest of BK.
I would guess that might be BK, though. I don't think you want your center forward playing right wing, but we'll see.
James. And Diaz steps in front of that ball and pounds it forward, and Alan Marcina on his bike in a foot race with Takahirano, who takes it to the outside, plays it nicely up the line. And Vicente Arce has switched sides now. He's over on the left-hand flank, and that ball is going to go off and out. And Andy Foster is about to indicate the substitution here. It's BK who's coming off, so our Energy Max substitution, BK off for Gordon Chin. And BK with a 2-goal night. He's had a very interesting night, but no
handshake from the coach. Oh,
and BK's just kicked the water bottle.
And I'll tell you what, the referee's going to have some words with him. He's going to
be sent off. Oh, you got to be kidding here. Charles BK has just been sent off because he had a yellow card already, and so now he's going to be suspended. That was another very questionable decision. And Taylor Torderson's got to get a hold of his team here because this is ridiculous. They're losing players left and right.
Well, it's an internal bust-up as well. It's not even with the other team.
Yeah, this is just poor discipline.
Well, you wonder what's going to happen in that locker room. Wesley Charles and Charles BK.
That's right. They're both in there now by themselves. James. So he'd already been subbed. At least the Whitecaps aren't down another man. And Walter Ramirez, who has not been booked, as we see the fourth official holding up 5 minutes of stoppage time. So lots can happen in what has been a very eventful night at Swangard Stadium.
Well, it was me criticizing the Miami Fusion, or the Miami FC Blues in the first half for implosion, and now the Whitecaps have gone one better, or one worse as it is.
And it's a good thing Marlon James is back and healthy because we rely on BK. Siskaridze pokes it through, and again it's off and out for a Whitecap throw. Surprised actually, a player getting sent off or a yellow card for kicking his own water bottles, though.
You know, it's a different sport, isn't it, than hockey or baseball, where you can go ballistic when you're not on the field of play. But it's a bit of an unwritten rule that you've got to mind your manners right throughout the entire playing surface, on or off the field. I'm not surprised, to be honest, the way he reacted there. He, put it this way, he set himself up for the possibility of it happening, didn't he?
Kristen Reed was pretty close to that. What happened there? Did you hear or did you see, Kristen?
Well, from my understanding, this is something that goes back to training. These two have been having some issues between themselves, and after BK and Marlon Jones were unable to convert on that 2-on-1, apparently Wesley Charles let him hear it. So that seems to be what caused it. He pushed BK first, and BK went back after him, and obviously now they're in the room together.
Well, hopefully they're sorting things out.
in a civil way. I figured that might have been the case. The Whitecaps up 3-1, or 3-2 rather, when they had the 2-on-1 opportunity. But as I said at the time, I didn't think that they were showboating. It was just a matter of who was on for the pass. If anything, BK was unselfish in playing the ball in.
We've played 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the added 5. And the Whitecaps will slow things down, and the fans are in a very strange state right now. It's kind of quiet. There's an uneasy edge about what's happened here tonight, despite the fact the Whitecaps lead by 3-2 and are poised to break their 3-game losing streak. James and Siskaridze come together, and it's Miami that'll get the free kick. Kirby, Goldberg. Is there one final thrust from Miami FC? Araujo goes down and yelps for a foul, not given. Nash knocks it through, hit the back of James, and Kirby steps forward once again. Gordon Chin now racing around, trying to win the ball back. Goldberg. And the ball is switched again for Siskaridze. Look out for this kid now. He's been influential in this game as Ramirez tries to get outside of Chin, plays it in, and that'll be a corner A late corner for Miami with about a minute left in stoppage time, and wouldn't this be something if the visitors could pull back an equalizer. We are deep into stoppage time. Walter Ramirez with the corner from the near side. And claims for handball by Ramirez on the cross. And sure enough, it hit West Knight, in the hand. The Whitecaps will need to mark up tight. There's the cross into the box. It's loose and knocked away. The Whitecaps win the free kick, but Siskaridze went in hard on Jay Nolly, who's hurt. And Nolly's getting up slowly. The Whitecaps dodge a bullet there because Nolly never really claimed that ball.
Another good ball in from Martinez, and it was spilled, although the referee saw something I didn't on the foul.
This will probably be the last action of tonight's game as Jay Nolly gets set to put the ball back in play. James, and there is a free kick against Marlon James. And he's not happy about that. The referee tells him to put the ball down, and Miami maybe with one final thrust. A long ball floated in. Marcina gets in behind, but that's off and out. This time, I think we'll have a final whistle heard here just after this ball's played in.
And Zinho kicks a water bottle on the touchline. I don't think the referee saw that. It certainly wasn't the full bucketful that BK hit when he came off, but you can see the Brazilian World Cup winner who now plies his trade as a coach in USL. Certainly hasn't lost the passion for the game.
And there's the final whistle. The Whitecaps do end their drought, but you have to ask some questions about tonight, Paul Dolan. Not only an ejection, 2 ejections for the Whitecaps. Some really strange incidents here in the second half, and 3 points in the end as the teams make their way back into the tunnel.
And you see Taylor Tortoson, Bob Lenarduzzi, and Darren Wallish. I can tell that Bob Lenarduzzi is not happy with what's transpired, and as happy as he'd like to be after a successful break to a losing streak with a 3-2 win, 3 goals on the board. Still some questions, as you mentioned, Peter. 2 goals allowed to a 10-man team, and then what can only be called a bust-up when BK and West Charles both get themselves red-carded for a fight between themselves.
Absolutely bizarre. In the end, the Whitecaps saluting the south side. The referees watch behind security, and 3 points for the Whitecaps, which is really all that matters in the end, but they have to get their discipline issues under control. This is a team that seems to be a little bit in disarray right now, despite their win tonight. And Miami, their drought continues. They haven't won a USL 1 game since their first 2 games of the season, when it looked like they got off to a great start. And they have to head home tonight and play on Sunday against the Austin Aztecs, who will be sitting there in Miami waiting for them at Lockhart Stadium.
That is definitely a big chore ahead of them, and disappointment for them having taken the lead so early. Played quite well in the first 10-15 minutes as well, but gave up the long throw headed goal by BK and the second goal as well shortly thereafter.
Can't wait to hear what Martin Hash has to say as we head down to Christian Reed in our Setanta Sports interview at full time.
Thanks, Peter. Martin, these are the nights where it's tough to be a captain, but obviously the way that last part played out, to have 2 players go at each other like that, a bit concerning.
Yeah, it is. You know, we didn't play well tonight. I don't think we, I think we probably deserved to win, but this is the worst we've played in the 3 losses previous to this. So, you know, we're a bit lucky tonight, and we can't have things like that go on, especially in a team. It's bad for chemistry, it's bad for a team, and they really let the team and the fans down tonight.
What happened there? Is it just a matter of this team not executing the way you wanted to? I mean, to have something like that happen is very unusual.
Yeah, I mean, we had a 2-on-1, and we really have to score it, and Butu said something to BK about putting it away, and I guess BK took exception to it, but you can't do that. You can't react, and you know, they're both in the wrong, and I'm sure you know, the club as well as the players here are going to take care of it, because it's we can't have this in our team.
the same time, you did come through with a win tonight. How important was it to get back on track there in the USL?
It's very, very important to get back on track in the USL. We've been struggling our last 3 league games. I think the Neutralite played a part in that, but we can't, we got to be more professional than we have been, and we weren't professional tonight, and we've got to pick that up if we want to get better and win the championship again.
I'm sure you want to be with your teammates right now. Thanks for this. Congrats on the win.
All right, thank you.
Captain Martin Nash summing up a bizarre incident there at the end of the game. And stay with us. We'll show you some highlights analysis from this game as the Whitecaps do prevail 3-2 over the Miami Blues FC.